get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh, God, well, crazy that we're in front of this. I'm a narcissist. It's great, okay? It's great. I'm honored. I don't know why I sound so angry right now. I'm honored. Am I a psychopath?
In the world of Hollywood, few things can ignite a firestorm quite like a celebrity's careless words. Rachel Zegler, once hailed as the next big thing, has found herself at the center of a controversy that could very well end her career. What did she say that has fans in an uproar? And why are calls to recast Snow White growing louder by the day? Buckle up, because this story is about to get wild. It all started with a leak, a few blurry screenshots from a private group chat that quickly spiraled into chaos. In these messages, Rachel allegedly mocked Disney fans, calling them cringe-obsessed and low IQ. The internet exploded. Fans dissected every word, every emoji, and what they found was nothing short of shocking. Rachel's comments were brutal, and the backlash was swift. How could someone who owes her fame to these very fans turn on them so easily? The group chat leak hit social media like a lightning bolt. Initially, the screenshots seemed almost too outrageous to be real, blurry, unverified, and filled with shocking claims. But as fans began to analyze the content, it became clear that these messages were indeed from Rachel Zegler herself. The comments were not just dismissive, they were downright scathing. One message suggested that Disney fans needed therapy or a restraining order, a sentiment that struck a chord with many who felt personally attacked. The fallout was immediate, with fans feeling betrayed by someone they had once supported wholeheartedly. The leaked messages revealed a side of Rachel that many fans had never seen before. In one particularly damning exchange, she allegedly expressed disdain for the very people who had made her a household name. They dress up like cartoon animals and cry over theme park parades, she reportedly wrote, further adding, I can't tell if they need therapy or a restraining order. This comment, dripping with condescension, painted Rachel as someone who had lost touch with the very essence of what it means to be a Disney fan. The irony was palpable. She was set to portray a character beloved by millions, yet here she was, mocking the very audience that had embraced her. As the screenshots circulated, they were met with disbelief and outrage. Fans began to dissect every detail, analyzing the context of each message and the implications behind Rachel's words. The initial shock quickly turned into a wave of anger, as people began to share their own experiences of being dismissed or belittled by celebrities. The leak not only exposed Rachel's comments, but also ignited a broader conversation about celebrity accountability and the relationship between stars and their fans. The speed at which the leak spread was astonishing. Within hours, social media platforms were ablaze with reactions. Fans took to Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram to voice their outrage, creating a digital storm that Rachel could not ignore. The hashtags Replace Rachel and Not My Snow White began trending, with users expressing their disappointment and calling for her removal from the film. The narrative quickly shifted from excitement about the upcoming Snow White remake to a full-blown crisis for Rachel and Disney. The response was immediate and fierce. Tags like Replace Rachel and Not My Snow White began trending, with fans expressing their outrage. They felt betrayed by someone they once supported. The Disney community, known for its passion, was now united in its demand for accountability. Rachel's words had struck a nerve, and the fallout was just beginning. As the outrage grew, fans began to share their thoughts in a variety of creative ways. TikTok creators produced reaction videos that juxtaposed Rachel's comments with clips of enthusiastic Disney fans, highlighting the stark contrast between her dismissive attitude and the joy that Disney brings to millions. These videos often featured dramatic music and captions that emphasized the absurdity of Rachel's statements, turning her into a meme that symbolized Hollywood's disconnect from its audience. On Twitter, users shared their own experiences of being fans, recounting moments of joy and nostalgia tied to Disney. Many expressed their disbelief that someone in Rachel's position could be so dismissive of the very people who had supported her career. I've been a Disney fan my whole life, and to hear her talk about us like that is just heartbreaking, one user tweeted, garnering thousands of likes and retweets. The sentiment resonated widely, as fans rallied together to defend their community against what they perceived as elitism and arrogance. The backlash was not just limited to social media, it spilled over into mainstream media coverage. News outlets began reporting on the controversy, with articles dissecting Rachel's comments and analyzing the potential fallout for her career. Critics pointed out that while it's acceptable to critique a studio or a script, attacking the fans, especially those who buy merchandise and support the films, was a surefire way to self-destruct. The narrative quickly shifted from excitement about her role as Snow White to a cautionary tale about the dangers of alienating fans. As the days passed, the criticism grew louder. Influencers, former Disney employees, and even fans began calling for a public statement from Disney. One former social media strategist pointed out that while critiquing the studio is acceptable, attacking the fans is a surefire way to self-destruct. self-destruct. The message was clear. Rachel had crossed a line, and the consequences were dire. The outrage reached a fever pitch when a verified account belonging to a popular voice actor from a classic Disney movie tweeted, "I've met Walt Disney fans my whole life. They're weird in the best way. Without them, none of us would have careers. Shame on you." This tweet resonated deeply with fans, who felt validated in their anger. It served as a rallying cry, prompting even more fans to voice their discontent and share their own experiences of being dismissed by celebrities. The voice actor's words highlighted the importance of the fan community, emphasizing that without their support, many actors and filmmakers would not have the careers they enjoy today. As the backlash intensified, fans began tagging Disney's official accounts, demanding a response. The hashtag #IWannaReplaceRachel gained traction, with users sharing their thoughts on who should take her place as Snow White. Some suggested beloved actresses who had long been associated with Disney, while others called for a complete reimagining of the character. The fervor of the fan base was palpable, and it became clear that Rachel's comments had ignited a fire that would be difficult to extinguish. In the midst of this chaos, Rachel's previous interviews came under scrutiny. Clips of her sounding smug and dismissive began circulating, with viewers picking apart her tone, facial expressions, and body language. Each clip felt like another nail in the coffin of her public image. The internet had turned her into a symbol of Hollywood arrogance, and the more people watched, the worse it looked for her. Context didn't save her. Instead, it fueled the fire, and soon even those who hadn't seen the movie were sharing memes mocking her. The memes were relentless. Fans edited Rachel's face onto images of failed Disney characters, creating parody trailers for Snow Woke, and even generating AI skits of her character getting booed off-screen. The internet didn't just reject Rachel, it weaponized her image, turning her into a cultural punchline. The backlash was not just about her comments. It was about the perceived elitism and disconnect from the very fans who had supported her rise to fame. As the days turned into weeks, the conversation shifted from Rachel's comments to a broader critique of Hollywood's relationship with its audience. Fans began to question whether the industry was losing touch with its roots, prioritizing political correctness over the timeless themes that had made these stories beloved. Rachel's comments were seen as emblematic of a larger trend in Hollywood, where the desire to modernize classic tales sometimes overshadowed the magic that made them special. The narrative surrounding Rachel Zegler transformed from one of excitement about a new adaptation to a critique of how Hollywood was handling its legacy. The backlash was not just a fleeting moment. It was a seismic shift in how audiences viewed her and her role in the Disney franchise. The Disney fandom, known for its loyalty and enthusiasm, was now rallying against one of its own, and the implications for Rachel's career were becoming increasingly dire. As the dust settled, it became clear that Rachel's comments had not only damaged her reputation, but also sparked a cultural reckoning within the industry. Fans were no longer willing to accept dismissive attitudes from those who represented their cherished stories. The relationship between creators and fans had been irrevocably altered, and Rachel Zegler found herself at the center of a storm that would define her career for years to come. In the wake of the leak, Rachel's social media activity became a topic of scrutiny. Initially, she liked a post defending her, only to unlike it hours later as the backlash intensified. Some speculated that her silence was a legal strategy, while others believed she was simply trying to ride out the storm. But in Hollywood, silence speaks volumes, and the damage was already done. As the days turned into weeks, Rachel's lack of a clear response only fueled the fire. Fans began to interpret her silence as an admission of guilt, a sign that she was either too proud to apologize or too disconnected to understand the gravity of her words. The longer she remained silent, the more speculation grew. Was she waiting for the right moment to address the controversy, or was she hoping it would blow over? The industry watched closely, and insiders whispered about the potential fallout for her career. Critics began to emerge from all corners, including former Disney employees and industry insiders who had once championed her. They pointed out that while it's acceptable to critique a studio or a script, attacking the fans, especially those who buy merchandise and support the films, was a surefire way to self-destruct. The message was clear. Rachel had crossed a line, and the consequences were dire. The backlash was not just a fleeting moment, it was a seismic shift in how audiences viewed her and her role in the Disney franchise. As the days passed, the criticism grew louder. Influencers, former Disney employees, and even fans began calling for a public statement from Disney. One former social media strategist pointed out that while critiquing the studio is acceptable, attacking the fans is a surefire way to self-destruct. The message was clear. Rachel had crossed a line, and the consequences were dire. The backlash intensified when a verified account belonging to a popular voice actor from a classic Disney movie tweeted, "I've met Walt Disney fans my whole life. They're weird in the best way. Without them, none of us would have careers. Shame on you." This tweet went viral, resonating with fans who felt validated in their outrage. The voice actor's words served as a rallying cry, and soon, fans began tagging Disney talent across social media, urging them to take a stand. The silence from Disney executives was deafening, and as the pressure mounted, it became clear that Rachel's comments had not only alienated fans, but also put her future with the studio in jeopardy. Critics were relentless. They pointed out that Rachel's comments were not just a slip of the tongue. wrong. They reflected a deeper disconnect from the very audience that had propelled her to fame. The backlash was not limited to social media. It spilled over into mainstream media coverage, with articles dissecting her every word and analyzing the potential fallout for her career. The narrative shifted from excitement about her role as Snow White to a cautionary tale about the dangers of alienating fans. As the criticism grew, Rachel's previous interviews came under scrutiny. Clips of her sounding smug and dismissive began circulating, with viewers picking apart her tone, facial expressions, and body language. Each clip felt like another nail in the coffin of her public image. The internet had turned her into a symbol of Hollywood arrogance, and the more people watched, the worse it looked for her. Context didn't save her. Instead, it fueled the fire, and soon even those who hadn't seen the movie were sharing memes mocking her. Once upon a time, Rachel Zegler was Hollywood's golden girl. Her performance in West Side Story had critics raving, and her casting as Snow White was met with excitement. But instead of embracing the magic of the original, Rachel chose to dismantle it. She called the classic love story outdated and mocked the very essence of what made Snow White beloved. This shift in tone alienated audiences and set the stage for disaster. Rachel's rise to fame was meteoric. She captured hearts with her stunning voice and acting chops. And when Disney announced her as the new Snow White, many saw it as a bold and fresh direction for the beloved character. However, Rachel's approach to the role was anything but traditional. In interviews, she made it clear that her version of Snow White would not be defined by romance or traditional fairy tale tropes. Instead, she emphasized themes of empowerment and independence, stating that her character would not be waiting for a prince to save her. While some praised her modern take, many fans felt that Rachel was undermining the very foundation of the story. The backlash intensified when she made comments suggesting that the original film's portrayal of love was outdated and problematic. This was not just a reinterpretation. It felt like an outright rejection of the fairy tale that had enchanted generations. The audience's reaction was swift and unforgiving, as they felt that Rachel was not only dismissing the original story, but also the values it represented. Rachel's comments didn't just affect her, they sparked a cultural reckoning. Audiences felt attacked, and what was once a fairy tale about love became a lecture on independence. The backlash was swift, with clips of her interviews going viral for all the wrong reasons. The internet weaponized her image, turning her into a symbol of Hollywood arrogance. The cultural impact of Rachel's comments extended beyond just her personal brand. It reflected a larger conversation about representation and storytelling in Hollywood. Fans began to question whether the industry was losing touch with its roots, prioritizing political correctness over the timeless themes that had made these stories beloved. Rachel's comments were seen as emblematic of a broader trend in Hollywood, where the desire to modernize classic tales sometimes overshadowed the magic that made them special. As memes and reaction videos proliferated, Rachel became a focal point for discussions about celebrity accountability and the relationship between stars and their audiences. The backlash was not just about one actress. It was about the expectations fans have for those who represent their cherished stories. The narrative shifted from excitement about a new adaptation to a critique of how Hollywood was handling its legacy. In the end, Rachel Zegler's story serves as a cautionary tale for Hollywood. Her hubris and disregard for the fans who supported her may have cost her everything. As Disney reevaluates its approach to remakes, one thing is clear: the audience has the final say. The fallout from this controversy may have lasting implications, not just for Rachel, but for the entire industry. As studios grapple with the lessons learned from this debacle, it's evident that the relationship between creators and fans is more crucial than ever. Rachel thought she could rewrite the story, but the audience wrote the ending, and that ending was brutal. If you love messy celebrity moments and industry shakeups, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss the next Hollywood train wreck.